Kenyatta, you've ignited a little bit of curiosity/controversy. We've got a bunch of calls on this issue, and I wanted to offer my thoughts on it. I think that I'd like to put this in the largest possible frame possible that I can, and that is, and this is merely opinion, and I might be rationalizing my white privilege. I may well be, which is essentially what I think Kenyatta was asserting that I was doing. Only he was doing it in a very thoughtful and kind way, which I appreciate. But if every time I walk down the street, I walk 5-6 blocks down the street every afternoon to get from the radio studio here to the TV studio where I do the evening TV show. And if every time I did that, every time I walked around a corner, somebody tried to rob me, or somebody punched me, or somebody just, did something to provoke my startle response. Every day after day, my entire life, every time I walk down the street, somebody reaches out and whacks me. What am I like pretty soon? Pretty soon, I'm walking down the street going, what's going, looking left to right all the time, just waiting for the whack to come, because it's going to come, right? Because that's been your experience your whole life. And then somebody comes by and they're reaching their hand out looking for a cab, but it looks to me like they're reaching out to hit me. And I'm like, oh, here it comes. And which is a long way of explaining, and it's not even explaining, it's actually kind of asking out loud, and asking out loud of principally, I guess, our viewers, people of color, people who grew up with an experience that I didn't, and so I don't fully understand. Is it possible that just the simple act of growing up black in America produces a type of post-traumatic stress disorder? Because, I would say, let me just simply assert, I believe that growing up black in America produces post-traumatic stress disorder, and not necessarily as a disorder, but just as a substrate to life. Having been knocked around enough times, both literally and metaphorically, that it's easy to see things with a racial lens that may not have a racial lens. I don't personally believe that President Obama tearing up yesterday when he was talking about all the children who've been killed by guns, including the kids who get shot every day in Chicago, who are largely African American, I don't think that he was thinking race at the time. But on the other hand, he's the president of the United States. I mean, he's got, on the one hand, enormous president privilege, I guess, but he doesn't, on the other hand, have white privilege. And, the most visible, obvious example of that today is Donald Trump trying to say, oh, Ted Cruz isn't, a natural-born citizen. He can't run for president. And everybody basically says, shut up, Donald. And Donald stops bringing it up because it didn't go anywhere. It didn't work. Why didn't it work? Well, Ted Cruz is a white guy, right? We only otherize, black guys or presidents. So anyhow, I just put that out. Willis in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Hey, Willis, you have some thoughts on this?
Yes, I do, Tom.
Go for it.
Tom, I think we're going to have to look at how horrific this was.
At our own, I'm sorry, what was that?
How horrific this
how horrific.
20 kids.
Yes.
How horrific it was.
Yeah, agreed.
You gotta look at these kids, they were caught off guard, and they were not at home with their parents, and not only that, they were getting shot up 3 and 4 and 5 times. So if you look at it and see how horrific it is, I think I can understand why the president had some tears in his eyes.
Well, if he saw the pictures of the kids who got shot at Newtown, and I'm guessing he probably did, they were like in piles, and as I recall, a quarter to a third of them they couldn't identify because their faces had been blown apart by bullets. I mean, that's enough to give anybody trauma.
Exactly. So I think we got to stop looking at sides sometime and kind of just look at the situation. And I think if we look at that situation, we'll understand why the president cheered up. So I disagree with Kenyatta, but I understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
Because I'm a black man and I'm 65 years old, so I definitely know where he's coming from.
Yeah, you've seen it all. Yeah. Okay, Willis, thank you for the call, and excellent points all. To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here, and please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.